As they head towards the dungeon, Sira, the party leader, stops to tell Kuga how far they've come. Giver questions why he's being so formal when a final challenge awaits them. Sarah expresses gratitude for Kuga's assistance but feels it's time to part ways. Kuga is taken aback, asking Sira if he's truly going through with this. He begs for an explanation, reminding Sira of their long history since school. Sira replies that Kuga is skilled in many areas but lacks mastery in any. Thus, he believes letting Kuga go is the best choice for the group. While Kuga processes this, Sarah adds that he must enter the hidden room alone. Confused, Kuga hears Sira refer to it as a farewell gift. Realization dawns on Kuga. This could signify the end of his dungeon exploration days. Just then, a party member named Makari calls out to Sira, questioning his severity. Sira insists it must be done even if it requires force. Kuga reassures Makari that it's fine and appreciates her concern. He strides past Sira towards the hidden room, asking if this is the farewell gift. If that's the case, he declares he'll gladly accept it and opens the door. Upon entering, the exit disappears, revealing a girl inside. The girl looks like a vampire and menacingly inquires about his presence. Seeing him alone, she questions if he intends to confront her solo. Before proceeding, it's crucial to grasp the world's context. 50 years ago, dungeons appeared on Earth. Inside these dungeons, magic and monsters were discovered, leading to new professions. One notable magic is revival magic, usable only once, which quickly gained popularity for its resurrection ability. Consequently, dungeon exploration and live streaming those experiences surged in popularity. With this boom, another discovery emerged, the hidden room of no return. It earned this name because no one has ever returned from it. All who entered exhausted their resurrection magic and could never re-enter a dungeon. Now that he's entered, Kuga suspects the vampire girl is the monster behind the room's grim reputation. Returning to their encounter, the vampire asks if he was banished, to which Kuga affirms. Upon hearing this, the vampire laughs, saying she had her suspicions. Still, she finds it odd that he remains so composed given his predicament. Kuga responds that he anticipated something like this eventually and thinks it might be for the best. The vampire nods, pleased he came, while Kuga looks puzzled. She explains her boredom, then suddenly launches a flurry of stone projectiles at him. Kuga quickly activates his skill, blocking the attack with his sword. Out of nowhere, the vampire appears behind him, commenting on his rough handling of the blade. She strikes again, and Kuga barely manages to block it by spinning around. The vampire is impressed that he defends against her attack once more. Noticing her speed, Kuga deduces her special skill must be teleportation. Realizing this, he decides it's time to take the offensive. He suddenly strikes at her with rapid, precise blows, catching her off guard. As she retreats, he swiftly closes the gap and attacks again. She barely deflects the hit before quickly countering. With a strike from her wings, he takes damage but heals effortlessly. As he prepares to strike again, the vampire stares at him, shocked. Noticing his healing magic, she questions if he's truly a jack of all trades. Caught off guard by her observation, Kuga reluctantly agrees, though he dislikes the term. He was misled by the title of hero. This title grants proficiency in swordsmanship, offensive and defensive magic, and healing. Like a genuine jack of all trades, a hero excels in various areas but never masters one. This becomes a significant flaw in a dungeon where the party size is limited to 4. The barrier restricts their numbers, making specialization crucial. Due to this restriction, it's highly advisable to form a team of specialists, each with unique roles to enhance their strengths. In line with this approach, his previous team featured Sarah for physical strikes, Yulia for magical prowess, and Makari for support spells. Without a healer in the group, Kuga stepped up to fill that gap and maintain balance. However, confronting the vampire stirs something within him, an unfamiliar sensation. A newfound sense of liberation arises from battling without the burden of protecting others. The vampire suddenly calls out, revealing she has a question she's been meaning to ask. She gestures toward a hovering object, inquiring about its nature. He explains it's a streaming drone. Not familiar with the term, she wonders if it relates to his alleged betrayal, but he reassures her it doesn't. Her curiosity halts the fight, and he finds himself genuinely contemplating whether he's about to explain live streaming to a vampire. He explains that the drone captures video and broadcasts it live, allowing viewers to comment in real time. With her attacks ceased, he continues his explanation. She listens intently. After processing this information, she asks if their entire battle has been viewed through the drone. Kuga nods, adding that the drone was a farewell gift from his previous team before they abandoned him. The vampire comments that it sounds rather sad. She steps closer, thanks him, and while he remains puzzled, she beams, saying he's the first to kindly explain things to her. Putting that aside, she inquires about the current comments from viewers. Seeing her genuine curiosity, Kuga opens the dashboard. The first comment states that the vampire is adorable. Surprised, she blushes instantly. Curious, she checks for herself and finds nearly all comments calling her cute. Kuga confirms this, noting that most viewers are focused on her appearance. Her cheeks redden further as she mutters about their audacity. She then questions if all humans behave this way, and Kuga wonders the same. Still, he thinks most comments reflect honest opinions, which only flusters her more. After a brief pause, she asks if he would mind her saying something a bit odd. Noticing his attention, she continues. She shyly requests if he could teach her how to stream. Kuga stares at her, taken aback, and asks for clarification. She clarifies that she's genuinely interested in streaming and wants him to guide her. Toro replies that while he understands, he questions whether, as the dungeon's boss, she can even leave this room. She affirms she can, and explains that she usually gets alerted when an invader appears. After preparing, she teleports quickly, just like earlier when she was enjoying a peaceful nap but was abruptly disturbed and had to hurry. With this clarification, she asks if he now realizes she can indeed exit the room. With that, she moves closer and suggests they start streaming together. After saying this, her focus shifts slightly as she begins discussing his blood, but she quickly retreats, clarifying that she only mentions it because he seems like the ideal partner. Kuga listens with an awkward grin, pondering how things escalated so quickly. She jumped from wanting to learn streaming to wanting to collaborate. Now that he reflects on it, his biggest issue in life is his lost sense of purpose. Back in his student days, he and his friends streamed and explored dungeons purely for enjoyment. During that time, he fought and protected everyone. Since he could never contribute anything interesting during streams, he never stepped into the limelight. This was part of why he accepted Sarah's farewell gift. He didn't truly care if his dungeon life ended here. He was simply engulfed in despair. Then he encounters this peculiar vampire girl. If asked now, he would be lying if he said he wasn't intrigued. Regardless, he decides to accept her proposal. Upon hearing this, the vampire's expression brightens with joy as she embraces him. Thus, what starts as a typical banishment tale unexpectedly leads to the formation of an unprecedented duo. Kuga then asks her if there's anything specific she wishes to stream. The vampire girl responds with Alicia, leaving Kuga puzzled. She clarifies that it's her name. Curious, he asks who gave her that name. She replies that she has no idea. All she knows is that she has been Alicia since she became aware of her existence. Kuga comprehends her situation and chooses not to dig deeper. He introduces himself as Kuga, a 24-year-old. As Alicia remarks that it's a cool name, he again inquires if there's anything specific she would like to stream. She responds, saying she's had so much free time lately that it suddenly dawns on her. What if she rises to the top? Kuga, puzzled by her words, inquires what she means. She clarifies that she's aiming to become the ultimate monster, the final boss, and has decided to pursue that goal. Kuga is taken aback by her ambition and, after a moment, asks how she intends to pull it off. She explains that the first step to becoming a final boss is achieving SS rank. She pulls out a document outlining the requirements for attaining SS rank and hands it to him. The document states she must defeat 30 invaders in an A-rank party and an S-rank party, make an S-rank boss submit, create a boss castle layer, and free up an SS-rank boss slot. Kuga finds the list surprisingly well-structured. However, he zeroes in on a few key points and asks if defeating dungeon explorers is really necessary. When Alicia confirms it is, Kuga falls silent. Realizing her excitement got the better of her, she understands Kuga would never want to fight his own kind. Calmly, he replies that it doesn't bother him much. This catches Alicia off guard as Kuga continues. He explains there's no rule against explorers battling each other. Every dungeon explorer must have an auto-revival spell called Relive cast on them. Without it, they can't enter the dungeon. The Relive magic ensures that if an explorer dies inside, their body is transported outside and revived. Since the spell can only be used once in a lifetime, no one can re-enter the dungeon after dying. This extra life grants them a degree of freedom, but it comes with responsibility. Fighting among themselves is part of that freedom. In fact, Kuga mentions that some streamers base their entire content around battles between explorers. He also points out that there are currently 4 S-rank parties, the most notable being called the Duelist. Alicia is quite surprised to learn this, since defeating an S-ranked party is a requirement, she asks. To confirm, she asks if there are really only 4. When Kuga nods, she inquires about his own rank. He reveals he was once part of an S-rank party. Alicia nods, indicating she understands. She then asks if that means there are individuals ranked above him, which he confirms. Shifting the topic, he asks if she has a rank, noting that she isn't listed among the S-rank bosses. Alicia admits she doesn't. Upon hearing this, he wonders if it's because she's a hidden boss. She replies that while she's unsure, the thought of starting from scratch is quite thrilling. With that, she settles on the purpose of their channel: to document her journey as a rankless boss on the path to becoming the final boss. Through this, she aims to instill fear in humans and deter them from indulging in mindless trends like dungeon streaming. Though Kuga agrees, he feels a deep unease, questioning what his role is in all of this. A few hours later, they kick off their stream with Alicia waving at the drone, asking viewers if they can see her. The viewers quickly start typing responses. Some are taken aback by her cuteness, while others are shocked, questioning if this is real. Alicia is astonished by the rapid influx of comments. Now that they're coming in, she decides it's time to start their significant stream. Meanwhile, Kuga is amazed by the barrage of comments. The viewer count is impressively high for a debut stream. Alicia turns to him, asking if this isn't a fantastic start. Kuga agrees, though his tone is awkward, as this marks the first time a dungeon monster has done something so unconventional. The early success of the stream is largely due to rumors spreading about a banished hero teaming up with a dungeon monster. This brings them far more attention than they anticipated. Alicia then calls for the chat's focus and announces that for their first stream, they will be hunting explorers. As she continues, Kuga is left in disbelief, questioning what he has gotten himself into. Meanwhile, the chat appears thoroughly perplexed. Moments later, Alicia spots some explorers and alerts Kuga, who remains uncertain about how to react. With a smug grin, Alicia comments that the explorers have arrived without a second thought. Among the adventurers is a man named Kensu, who expresses his excitement at finally reaching this point. He feels nostalgic seeing his high school clubmates here after such a long time. Then a girl from his party, Akina, tries to speak up, saying she especially wanted to be in the same party as him. As he asks what she means, their party is suddenly ambushed, and 2 of his friends are instantly taken out. Caught completely off guard, they quickly turn to look, but they too are attacked. Alicia, the attacker, steps into view as Kenzu and Akina, now gravely injured, call out to each other on the brink of death. Devastated, Kenzu wonders why it has to end this way. Everything had been going so smoothly. Today they were hunting monsters as usual, without any problems. Even though they had faced near-death experiences before, they always managed to survive somehow. There's no way they were overly confident for something like this to occur. Calling out to Akina, he longs to connect with her in their last moments. She reaches for him, calling his name, but then something unexpected occurs. In a shocking twist, Alicia swiftly takes Akina's life. Alicia bursts into laughter, thanking them for their efforts, while Kenzu screams in pain. He demands to know what she and Kuga are up to, and Alicia bluntly states they're just hunting humans. Kenzu is left speechless and furious, questioning if she's joking. Alicia points out her confusion over his outrage, noting he does the same regularly. As Kenzu struggles to comprehend, Alicia asks why he streams dungeons. He stays silent, prompting her to ask if it's for money or fame, which only frustrates him more. Alicia claims she understands his feelings, but highlights that they risk their lives for his little hobbies, mockingly telling him to be thankful. This infuriates him further, and he curses her just before his head is severed. As their bodies fade due to the reliving magic, she sarcastically wonders if he had something to say. Kuga, who has been silently observing, is taken aback by her intensity. More importantly, a B-class group of young adventurers being brutally slaughtered should never have occurred. Alicia, a vampire, shouldn't be casually roaming this level with such power. It's all a complete accident. Feeling sympathy for the unfortunate explorers, Alicia inquires about the stream's viewership. Kuga responds that it's decent, prompting her to smirk and declare that's good. Suddenly, she asks the chat for their thoughts. Are humans horrified yet? They certainly are. The chat floods with viewers condemning her for the explorer's deaths, calling her terrible, disgusting, and a monster. This is precisely what she desired, and she feels quite satisfied, suggesting they might have learned their lesson. More comments start pouring in, but this time the responses are quite different. For instance, one viewer mentions those guys were experimenting on monsters, like slicing a slime to see how long it takes to regenerate. They believe Kenzu and his group were wrong from the start. They decide to stick with Alicia's stream. Since this isn't the reaction she anticipated, Alicia tries to clarify that monsters are mean and scary, so it shouldn't matter. Then another viewer thanks her, saying they feel something inside them has awakened. Shocked and utterly defeated, she turns to Kuga, asking if humans are monsters too. Equally shocked, Kuga replies that perhaps they are, but Alicia counters, questioning if humans are truly worse than monsters. This leaves Kuga at a loss for words. He can't deny it and feels deeply troubled. He believes that with the unpredictability of human thoughts, Alicia's plans are bound to go awry. Moments later, Alicia tells Kuga to take her hand, and he reluctantly agrees. Noticing his reluctance, she asks what's wrong, if he's embarrassed or something, to which he admits he's just a bit. Upon hearing this, Alicia remarks on his surprising shyness, and Kuga can't deny it. She then takes his hand. Using warp magic, she teleports them to the city of monsters and asks for his opinion. She explains that, as the name suggests, only monsters are permitted to enter this city. Since they're still live, viewers get to see the city and are amazed it actually exists. They think the city has a pleasant atmosphere and find the little monsters adorable. As comments keep pouring in, Alicia nods in agreement. She then mentions that Kuga is likely the first human to ever step foot in the monster tower. Hearing this, he asks if she's sure it's all right. Alicia assures him it'll be fine since there's no official prohibition. Although Kuga agrees, he still feels uncertain, reminding her he's human and asking if it's truly okay. She reassures him again, saying it's fine because he's hers, then pauses mid-sentence. Now that she thinks about it, she wonders what exactly he means to her. But she decides not to dwell on it too much and settles on calling him her special other for the time being. Kuga accepts this, and just like that, he casually becomes Alicia's special other. Setting aside the fact that he's even here, he asks if they can really stream in this place. Since no one is stopping them, Alicia assumes it should be fine. Viewers are surprised by her carefree attitude, commenting that this is the first time anyone has streamed in Monster City. Not only that, but because of this stream, they now know the city exists and get to witness such fascinating things firsthand. Putting that aside, Alicia's main ambition now is to become the final boss. However, she also has another goal, to instill fear in humans and prevent them from engaging in dungeon streaming and raiding. Yet, as he reflects, Kuga suspects that if humans were to understand that monsters have their own lives, many might shift their viewpoints. He ponders whether Alicia had anticipated this, as her intention to instill fear might backfire. Alicia then proposes they visit her current residence. Kuga consents, but as he walks, he feels the monster's gazes on him, causing unease. Suddenly, someone calls out to Alicia, referring to her as Vampire Chan, and Kuga is taken aback upon seeing who it is. It's a massive minotaur. The audience is equally stunned as it materializes unexpectedly, also recognized as an S-ranked boss. Alicia greets the minotaur as Mino-chan and inquires about her well-being. Witnessing this exchange, Kuga relaxes, and the audience assumes they must be on friendly terms. Alicia introduces Mino-chan as her companion and presents Kuga as her special someone. Mino bows slightly, expressing pleasure in meeting him, and introduces herself as Mino-taurus. Kuga, surprised, thanks her for the courteous introduction. Mino then turns to Alicia, cautioning that bringing a human here might not be wise. When Alicia asks why, Mino nervously suggests it's just common sense and urges her to consider it. Putting that aside, Kuga is taken aback by Mino's voice, finding it quite adorable. Mino then faces him, apologizing and commenting that he is quite impressive himself. She says this because he boldly entered a city full of monsters without hesitation. Caught off guard since there's some truth to it, he also apologizes. The audience seems to agree with her, though some find it odd that the cowgirl is starting to appear somewhat cute. Setting that aside, Kuga questions whether it's appropriate for a human to be in a monster city, yet two reasons compel him to be here. The first reason is that Alicia wiped out a promising beer-ank party, making it dangerous for him to return to human society. The second reason is that Alicia is unable to leave the dungeon. While he considers acting independently from Alicia, they lack a way to communicate. He thinks about meeting at intervals, but if something goes awry, they might never reunite, so he dismisses the idea. Alicia bursts into laughter while reading the comments. As one viewer claims Kuga hasn't been right since leaving Kumazami, while another says he's lost it. She urges him to check it out since the viewers are discussing him. Putting that aside, Alicia asks him what Kumazami refers to, and he explains it was the name of his previous party. Returning to the topic of bringing him along, Alicia asserts that despite Kuga being human, he is her special someone, and she won't allow anyone to harm him. Mino, confused, asks what she means by special someone, and the viewers agree, believing she's the only one with a functioning brain. Later, after concluding the stream, they make their way to Alicia's residence. On their way, she suggests stopping somewhere briefly, and he agrees. They halt in front of a fruit stall where she asks what he would like. He responds that apples would be good. Upon hearing this, she picks an apple from the stall, mentioning she also enjoys apples, particularly the green ones. She then inquires about the price for two, and the vendor replies it's 500 yen, which astonishes Kuga. When Alicia asks if something's wrong, he says it's nothing and wonders if he misheard. Alicia hands the vendor a 1,000 yen note and receives 500 yen in change. Witnessing this, Kuga is shocked again, and this time the vendor asks if everything is all right. Kuga expresses his surprise at discovering they use the same currency as humans. Alicia, hearing this, questions if it's really that surprising, to which he affirms it is. Considering that the dungeon in Japan uses yen, he wonders if dungeons in other nations utilize their respective currencies. 9 countries worldwide have confirmed dungeons: Japan, America, China, Thailand, UAE, France, Egypt, Brazil, and Australia. Each of these nations has one dungeon. The entrance to Japan's dungeon is situated in Akira. With China in East Asia and Thailand in South Asia, Japan's dungeon has become somewhat isolated. Consequently, most dungeon explorers here are Japanese. Returning to the currency discussion, Kuga asks Alicia how they acquire their money. She replies that they receive a fixed daily amount, which Kuga finds reminiscent of a basic income. Alicia, hearing this, asks what's wrong, but he brushes it off, saying it's nothing. Since they share the same currency, he wants to pay for the apple. However, Alicia insists he stop being so modest and allows her to treat him today, which he accepts. Eventually, they reach her home, where she tells him to make himself comfortable and takes the robe from him. This is where Alicia is allowing him to stay. She claims it's just a temporary arrangement until she can build her actual castle. Initially, he thinks about finding an instant place to stay, but he can't, as Alicia, with her utter lack of caution, casually invites a man into her home. When dinner time comes, she chooses, of all things, a single green apple. Kuga trembles in shock at her living conditions. Meanwhile, she appears puzzled. While Alicia heads off to take a bath, Kuga pulls out a quick meal pack from his bag and starts eating. A few moments later, as it's time for bed, another issue arises. When Kuga asks if something's wrong, she responds that there's only one bed. This catches Kuga off guard. Alicia continues, admitting she completely forgot about the single bed. She then starts brainstorming solutions, and when the thought of sharing a bed with him crosses her mind, her face flushes bright red. The idea seems utterly outrageous. Kuga is lost in thought, convinced they've already accomplished several unprecedented feats today. Putting that aside, Alicia struggles with her next move. She invited him, and the thought of making him sleep on the floor feels wrong. Just as she resolves to take the floor herself, Kuga reassures her that it's okay. He pulls out a sleeping bag, sets it up, and lies down, leaving Alicia. She pouts, her cheeks flushed. Moments later, Kuga is deep in slumber while Alicia sits beside him. She gazes at him, her lips glistening. Then she climbs on top of him, gently biting his arm. When she pierces him with something, he jolts awake, startling her. She quickly apologizes, puzzled that her numbing bite didn't work. Kuga asks what she's up to, and she nervously reveals the syringe. She explains she just wanted a little of his blood. Kuga gets it, but wishes she could do it while he's awake. Alicia apologizes, admitting she can't shake off the taste from earlier. This makes him wonder if their earlier moments meant nothing to her, and if she was only after his blood. Realizing that might be true, he rolls up his sleeve and offers his blood, saying he doesn't mind sharing as long as it won't kill him. Ecstatic, she hugs him tightly and thanks him. Then she injects the syringe and draws some blood. Afterward, she places a drop on her finger and licks it. It tastes amazing, which brings a smile to his face. He asks if that's enough, and she assures him it is. He also wonders if vampires usually drink directly from the source. With a worried look, Alicia explains that it poses several issues. Besides, she sees him as her special someone, not just a subordinate. Kuga is taken aback, unsure how to reply. They eventually drift off to sleep, and morning arrives. Later, after freshening up, they re-enter the dungeon where Alicia takes down more humans, totaling 26. Adding the 4 from yesterday and the 4 just now, that's 8 kills over the last 2 days. However, Alicia has previously hunted 18, bringing the grand total to 26. With that, she's nearly met the first requirement for SS rank boss. 30 invaders down, just 4 left. Since they're live today, viewers comment, some praising her efforts while others note today's fight was quicker than yesterday's. They cheer her on, urging her to keep going since 4 targets remain. Kuga feels relieved that viewers are warming up to the explorer hunting idea. Supportive comments are starting to appear, though there's still a fair share of negativity. As they search for their next target, someone calls out from behind. When Alicia and Kuga turn, they see a group of explorers standing there. Viewers quickly recognize them as the Monster Slayers. The party leader greets them, introducing their group as Monster Slayers. One viewer notes they're an A-rank party linked to an S-rank group called Evil Slayer, known for their aggressive hunting tactics. Their affiliate, Monster Slayers, shares the same reputation. The leader then inquires if they're the ones causing all this chaos and drawing attention. Alicia beams and asks if that's true, while viewers caution her about the danger these people pose. Suddenly, one of them lunges at her, but Kuga and Alicia dodge effortlessly. The party leader sarcastically questions why they would bother avoiding that. Alicia turns to Kuga, asking if these guys are really A-ranked, and he confirms. Realizing this, she feels fortunate and considers herself lucky, leaving Kuga puzzled. Alicia explains her luck. She can fulfill her goal of hunting 30 humans while also taking down an A-rank party. She thinks this is the best deal she's ever encountered. Just then, the party leader charges at her. She easily blocks the attack, clicking her tongue in disappointment. Viewers expected they wouldn't keep up with Alicia. While the Monster Slayers are strong, the audience warns that they're dangerous, especially the leader. As Alicia engages the swordsman, the mage suddenly casts a fireball. She dodges it and immediately counters the mage with her wings. However, the party's tank intercepts her strike. Seizing the moment, the swordsman attacks from behind with a skill called Quick Slash. Kuga blocks it effortlessly, much to the leader's irritation. Alicia is taken aback, asserting to Kuga that she can manage on her own, and he nods in agreement. Yet, she feels a sense of relief seeing Kuga finally take action after being a mere observer, now that he's in the fray. Alicia instructs Kuga to deal with the swordsman while she handles the 3 others lurking in the back. He accepts the challenge, and they both adjust their positions for the next round of combat. Irritated, the party leader questions Alicia's belief that she can simply walk away, then lunges at her, only to be intercepted by Kuga once more. Recognizing Kuga as his opponent, the party leader wonders if he truly thinks he has a chance in close quarters. This man is Shidahara, a fencer, a class renowned for its swift and precise swordplay in close combat. Kuga may be a hero with impressive stats, but he can't deploy them all at once. In contrast, Shidahara's abilities perfectly complement his role as a fencer, enabling him to unleash his full potential. As they prepare to clash, Shidahara intends to teach Kuga a lesson, labeling him as mediocre. He swiftly employs acceleration magic, closing the gap and launching an attack. Kuga blocks it effortlessly, prompting Shidahara to mockingly ask if he finds it funny that a hero has allied with monsters. Kuga's irritation grows as Shidahara continues, claiming it's ridiculous to label someone as foolish as him a hero. Shidahara swings his sword again, taunting Kuga by saying this is precisely why his companion left him. Taken aback by the comment, Kuga loosens his grip on his sword, causing it to slip slightly. He silently agrees, thinking that without him, the Kumasemi party could have become significantly stronger. Yet that party was all he had, and now that it's gone, he feels indifferent. With that thought, he tightens his grip. He executes a precise vertical slash, effortlessly dispatching Shitahara. His party members watch in disbelief as Alicia swiftly takes them down. With that, the entire group is eliminated, their bodies set to respawn. Spectators are left in awe of Alicia and Kuga's strength. Alicia then tells Kuga he finally did it, to which he acknowledges that he has indeed taken a life. Even though they will be revived automatically, it was still a death, and the fact that he killed them, even temporarily, lingers. Moreover, they will never be able to re-enter the dungeon, meaning he has effectively ended the lives they spent so long building. However, this outcome was bound to happen eventually, especially since he considers himself to be Alicia's special other. Alicia then inquires about his feelings, and he responds that it doesn't feel much different from slaying monsters. Alicia nods, agreeing that it's a positive sign, though Kuga remains uncertain. Suddenly, a system window appears, indicating that the job stone is flickering, signaling the emergence of a new job tree. Alicia excitedly calls out to Kuga, urging him to drop everything and check out what she has received. She refers to the fact that they have fulfilled 2 of the requirements. This news makes her incredibly happy, and the chat floods with congratulations, though some newcomers ask what the requirement is, as Kuga forgot to explain. While they examine the system window, someone suddenly charges in to attack. Although Kuga and Alicia spot the attacker, they react just a moment too late, and despite blocking the blow, Alicia is sent crashing into a boulder. As the attacker rushes past, Kuga seems to recognize her. The assailant turns out to be Yulia, a former member of Kuga's previous party. Yulia's strike causes no real harm to Alicia, it merely annoys her. She questions Yulia about her choice of greeting. In reply, Yulia tells her to be quiet and accuses her of being a thieving cat who ruined all their hard work. Confused, Alicia turns to her chat. The chat quickly informs her that Yulia is from Kuga's old party. Upon hearing this, Alicia tries to remember the party's name, but can only recall the word Zemi. Yulia corrects her, stating it's Kumazemi, and chastises her for omitting the most crucial part. Alicia then says that while she doesn't know the entire story, she asks if Yulia wasn't one of those who expelled Kuga. When Yulia confirms this, Alicia questions what her issue is. Kuga remembers that when he was kicked out, Yulia remained silent, leaving him unsure of her thoughts. Yulia then declares that she's not good with words, so she intends to express herself by defeating Alicia instead. After stating this, she lunges forward to attack again, but this time, Alicia effortlessly blocks her. As they clash, the viewers are on the edge of their seats. Some recognize Yulia as the muscle-brained saintess, dubbing the fight vampire versus gorilla. The audience finds themselves torn on whom to support. Yulia proves to be a formidable opponent, relentlessly casting magic and unleashing her lightning spells at close range without hesitation. Alongside her magical skills, she excels in fierce hand-to-hand combat, earning her the title Miss Gorilla. Her straightforward nature and striking looks have made her the most beloved member of Kumazemi. Yulia then casts her spell Holy Night and launches an attack on Alicia, who, once more, she blocks it and immediately retaliates. Kuga observes from the sidelines, sensing the battle's escalating intensity. Even Yulia struggles to maintain her balance as Alicia effortlessly continues her assault. Just as Alicia prepares to deliver a final strike, she halts and questions Kuga's actions. He has positioned himself in front of Yulia to intercept Alicia's blow, catching both women off guard. He casts healing magic on Yulia, while Alicia silently watches from a distance. Ecstatic, Yulia calls out to Kuga, who tells her to retreat. Confused, she asks if he's truly addressing her, and he affirms it. Yet she insists she isn't finished, and Kuga agrees. Yulia won't fall easily, and neither has revealed their full potential. Kuga feels this isn't about proving strength through sheer force. He shares that since his expulsion from Kumazemi, everything spiraled out of control, leading him to this vampire. He warns her that if Yulia threatens Alicia, he won't stand by. Yulia is left speechless by his declaration. After a moment of confusion, she starts to tremble and then breaks into tears. She unexpectedly calls Sierra a complete fool. Still crying, she flees, leaving Kuga bewildered. Viewers quickly blame him for her tears, leaving him in shock. He pleads for them to wait, questioning how he became the villain and wondering if Yulia just referred to him as Sarah. While he debates with the viewers, Alicia quietly expresses her gratitude for his support. Having achieved their goal, they conclude the stream and head back to Monster City. Later, Alicia proposes gathering some minions, and Kuga readily agrees. Yet he finds himself pondering why Yulia confronted Alicia alone that day. However, Kuga isn't one to overthink, so he quickly sends Yulia a message asking if she returned safely. All he gets back is a brief reply confirming her safe return. With that settled, Kuga shifts his focus to Alicia's ambition of becoming an SS rank boss. One requirement, as Alicia mentioned, is to recruit minions who are S-rank bosses themselves. Kuga agrees with the plan but highlights the S-rank requirement, asking if defeating one is necessary to ascend to SS rank. When Alicia confirms this, Kuga nods and inquires if they plan to turn the Minotaur into a minion. Alicia quickly rejects this idea, clarifying that Mina was her friend and she would never do that. Kuga understands, so they decide to search for someone else. He checks the current list of S-rank bosses, which includes Basilisk, Arachne, Werewolf, Minotaur, Slime Undead, Spirit Fox, and Mech Soldier. Though there are now 8 bosses, there was once only one entity known as Jackie, or the Evil Spirit, as some called it. After Jackie was defeated, the number mysteriously grew to 8. Since then, whenever a boss falls, another takes its place. This ensures there are always 8 S-rank bosses present. Defeating an S-rank boss is also a requirement for Alicia's promotion to S-rank. For Kuga, who has only ever held one rank, this is entirely new territory. Putting that aside, he asks how she plans to persuade the minions to follow her. She replies that it usually hinges on their free will. In other words, she must mentally compel them to submit, which Kuga comprehends. Alicia then mentions there's actually another way. This prompts Kuga to ask if it involves directly drinking their blood. Alicia confirms this, but admits she dislikes doing it. This surprises Kuga, as he never thought of her as having a moral compass. However, Alicia clarifies that her aversion comes from not wanting to consume blood she finds unappealing. Kuga is taken aback by this, though he keeps it to himself. Still, it's clear, since during the fight, Alicia only absorbed blood through her tentacles instead of drinking it herself. Except when it came to Kuga's blood, indicating a special preference for his. He wonders if it's because his blood type is O. He speculates this based on something he once heard about type O blood being more appealing to insects. Setting that aside, he asks her who her target is, to which she giggles and says she has already made her choice. The Japanese dungeon is split into 2 sections. The upper layers extend from the earth to the sky, while the lower layers descend into the underground, though the difficulty remains consistent. For instance, the upper 15th floor and the lower 15th floor present roughly equal challenges. This unique layout has earned the Japanese dungeon the nickname Double-Headed Dungeon. Typically, the higher the floor, the larger it tends to be. Moreover, every 10th floor is devoid of monsters, making floors like 10, 20, and 30 perfect for camping. Notably, the 10th and 20th floors host large cities. Amidst all this, Alicia's hidden room is located on the 43rd underground floor. However, it is currently sealed due to her prolonged absence, and the rank bosses are situated 2 floors above. Additionally, the 49th floor is a unique case. It is divided into 3 upper sections and 3 lower sections, each housing one of the 6 SS rank bosses. If a human takes down an SS-ranked boss, the position stays empty. There's no system to fill it, unlike the other ranks. As they reach floor B32, Kuga inquires about their destination, guided by Alicia, an underground dungeon with jagged stone walls that seem to stretch on forever. Kuga quickly realizes the floor's identity, surprised by how much the viewers know. The viewers inform him that kobolds inhabit this area, a fact Alicia confirms. She announces their plan to raid the kobold colony. The strategy involves attacking the kobolds and converting their entire colony into her followers. As they near the site, Alicia spots a human girl ahead and alerts Kuga. She then asks what their next move should be, to which he questions if they aren't supposed to hunt her. Alicia responds that it depends on the foe. Generally, she avoids targeting those who pose no threat to monsters. While they can't tell from afar if the girl is hostile, Alicia thinks it's uncommon to find explorers who aren't these days, a sentiment Kuga shares. Yet he finds it peculiar that she is alone and not even using a streaming drone. Solo explorers aren't unheard of, but they are indeed quite rare. Just like Yulia yesterday, wandering alone is ill-advised, even for the skilled. It's odd enough that she's by herself, but even more troubling is her apparent distraction. Kuga senses she seems lost. The girl then commands the auto-revive spell to deactivate, prompting Alicia to ask Kuga what she's doing. He responds that it's concerning. She might be trying to end her own life. Alicia looks puzzled while viewers begin to speculate. Since she can disable her revive spell, they deduce she must be a reviver. They suggest a cautious approach, noting it would be a shame to lose such a valuable asset. Kuga agrees, recognizing that only a reviver can turn off their own revive spell. Before entering a dungeon, explorers pay a fee to a revive insurance company, where a reviver casts the spell on them. This guarantees automatic resurrection upon death, allowing them to explore with minimal risk. Moreover, entering a dungeon requires passing a special checkpoint to verify the presence of the revive spell. Thus, her status as a reviver is confirmed, a job that's extremely rare. Viewers note that most revivers are overwhelmed with work outside dungeons, contracted by insurance companies, making their presence inside a dungeon quite unusual. Alicia now grasps the situation and thanks the viewers for their insights. She then turns to Kuga, insisting they need to take action, prompting him to ask what she means. She suggests that since the girl has such a valuable class, they should consider making her a minion. They approach the girl, with Alicia calling out to her not to act rashly. The viewers are taken aback by Alicia's assertiveness, while the girl looks stunned to see her. Verified, the girl starts to flee, much to Alicia's frustration. Alicia then uses her tentacles to restrain the girl. This creates a rather bizarre scene. Noticing this, Kuga attempts to intervene, but for some reason Alicia starts drooling, expressing an uncontrollable urge to hunt the girl. Kuga wonders aloud if Alicia is some kind of bear or something. He then apologizes to the viewers, announcing he's going to end the stream for now. Some viewers question why, while others suggest things might be getting a bit too intense. With that, the stream concludes. Meanwhile, the girl insists they shouldn't stop her, declaring she's ending it here. She asks to be killed quickly with the sword. Instead, Alicia inquires why she desires death so much. Though not particularly interested, Alicia presses on. Since the girl is destined to die anyway, why not enjoy some pleasure before that? As a tentacle brushes against her face, the girl nervously asks what Alicia means. Then, out of the blue, Alicia asks if she likes dogs. The girl hesitantly admits she does. Hearing this, Alicia releases her, exclaiming it's wonderful, and grabs her hand, leading her to a place she calls Dog Paradise. On their way, the girl introduces herself as Kushina. Upon hearing this, Alicia greets her and asks if she knows who they are. Kushina apologizes, admitting she doesn't know much about them, and asks if they are famous streamers. Alicia replies that they aren't, and reassures her it's fine if she doesn't recognize them. She adds that she's not even sure if they're famous, prompting a viewer to comment that they are quite well known. The viewer explains that currently, Kuga and Alicia are the hottest topic in terms of popularity. Alicia reads the comment surprised, while Kushina can't actually see the streaming window. Setting that aside, Alicia decides to continue toward Dog Paradise. Hearing this, Kushina asks what she means. In response, Alicia tells her to wait and see, assuring her that she will understand. They reach the first location, but it doesn't appeal to them. They move on to the second spot, which also fails to meet Alicia's expectations. After that, they check the third location, which comes close, but still doesn't satisfy. Finally, they arrive at the fourth place, which turns out to be exactly what Alicia was hoping for. She finds the kobolds quite beautiful, and asks Kuga if he also feels this place has a nice atmosphere. He agrees, noting that the vibe is indeed calming and pleasant. With that, Alicia decides to settle here. Kushina then asks if this could be a kobold colony, pointing out the guards. Alicia confirms this, shocking Kushina as she realizes this is what Alicia meant by Dog Paradise. Alicia reassures her, explaining that here she can cuddle and pet kobolds, asking Kushina if she's feeling happy. As they near, a kobold guard spots them and looks taken aback. Kobold guards are stationed at every entrance of the mansion, their looks changing based on the colony type. This is why Alicia opts for the Japanese-style colony. The kobolds here remind her of Shiba Inu. Even the previously skeptical Kushina can't help but want to pet them. As she reaches out, the kobolds rush towards her. However, Kuga quickly intervenes, blocking them. They aren't as friendly as they appeared. They were actually charging to bite her, which Kuga intercepts with his arm. Alicia commends Kuga for his swift action and cautions Kushina that kobolds can be quite fierce. While Kushina apologizes to Kuga, Alicia explains that a kobold's weak point is its throat. A gentle stroke there calms them. Just as she says this, the kobolds settle down when she strokes their throats. With the situation under control, Alicia suggests heading inside, and Kuga agrees. Kushina, however, nervously begins to speak, apologizing for Kuga getting hurt while trying to protect her. He reassures her that it's all right and tells her not to worry. Still, she insists it's not okay. She asks if she can assist him. When he agrees, she casts a healing spell on him that instantly mends all his injuries. Surprised, he compliments her, saying her healing skills are impressive. Kushina shyly asks if he truly means it, admitting it's her first time using healing magic since she usually relies on auto-revival. Kuga, taken aback, listens as Kushina assures him he should be fine now. He thanks her, and she replies that it's nothing. She should be the one thanking him. As their chat wraps up, Kushina realizes she's standing too close and cue. She quickly steps back, suggesting they should move on and asking if Alicia will be all right. Kuga assures her that Alicia will be just fine, and right on cue, Alicia calls out asking why they're taking so long. She comments on their slowness, mentioning that she has already tamed all the kobolds in the meantime. This surprises both Kuga and Kushina as well as the viewers. One of them notes that the stream has unexpectedly turned into a simple healing session, prompting Kuga to apologize. Later, while Kushina plays with the kobolds and Alicia chats with one of them, Kuga stands off to the side, quietly observing his surroundings. He then asks Kushina if he can pose a question, and she gives her consent. He wants to know why she reversed her revival magic. Considering what he has heard, healers are rare and usually have a secure future. Kushina replies that this is precisely why she did it. As her statement confuses Kuga, she elaborates that she chose the safe path and joined Relive Insurance. The perks are nice with no overtime or pressure, a solid, dependable job. But because of that, she got revived the day before yesterday and then again yesterday. Though she took a break today, she will likely be back at it tomorrow. Just revival after revival, that's how her life has been. Though she understands it's for someone else's benefit, she finds living for others somewhat exhausting. She then realizes why Kuga asked and quickly clarifies that she wasn't planning on ending her life. She explains that she was just feeling a bit strange and craved some thrill and excitement. Learning this, Kuga somewhat understands her perspective. The automatic resurrection magic is revolutionary, allowing people to explore dungeons without fear. The risk has significantly decreased. Dungeon exploration has transformed into a full-fledged form of entertainment. That's why jobs like resurrectionists even exist. But after hearing Kushina, Kuga realizes it might come with its own kind of curse. Alicia suddenly jumps into the conversation, suggesting that Kushina become her minion. This confuses Kushina. She asks Alicia what she means by that. Thinking she is unaware, Kuga informs her that Alicia is a monster. Shocked, Kushina starts to realize it too as she notices the wings. But since Kuga lacks any, she inquires about him, to which he replies that he is human. This shocks her even more, and after a brief pause, she apologizes, saying she can't. Shocked, Kuga asks her why not, and she explains that her mom would kill her if she became a monster's minion. While Alicia understands and lets it go, Kuga realizes how flawed her reasoning is but decides to keep it to himself. Setting that aside, Kushina expresses her surprise at seeing people engage in such reckless behavior. Thinking she's referring to Alicia, Kuga nods in agreement, saying they really do. But Alicia quickly clarifies that Kushina is talking about him, which shocks him. Observing their unusual interaction, Kushina thinks that maybe she should try breaking out of her shell a little too. Hearing this, Alicia again offers to make Kushina her minion, but she again declined, saying her mom would kill her. Alicia understands once more and doesn't press further, so while she manages to make the kobolds her minions, she has failed to do the same with Kushina. After parting ways with Kushina and clearing out the kobolds on the dungeon's 3rd floor, Alicia and Kuga head back to the Monster City. They can exit the Monster City from anywhere, but must enter from the same spot. Thus, Kuga and Alicia have to walk all the way back each time. On their way, Alicia again stops at the fruit stall and picks up a few apples which Kuga offers to pay for. When Alicia insists it's fine, Kuga asserts that his streaming has been quite profitable thanks to their efforts. Alicia looks puzzled, prompting Kuga to explain that he's making a significant income, which leaves her stunned. He elaborates that viewer count directly impacts earnings. Since her presence boosts his audience, he urges her to accept the money. Realizing his intent, Alicia agrees, and he inquires if she can utilize MayPay, the payment method for streamers. Once the funds deplete, they'll have to head to a human city for more. But seeing her bewilderment, Kuga quickly understands they can't withdraw cash here. Putting that aside, he probes her about her earlier mention of daily earnings and how it functions. Alicia pulls out a 1,000 yen note, explaining that 5 of these magically appear in her pocket each day. Kuga is astonished to learn she receives 5,000 yen daily. He realizes a trip back to the human city is inevitable. Thanking her for the insight, he hears the vendor calling for him. Remembering he forgot to pay, he quickly apologizes, stating he'll handle it now. The vendor clarifies that Kuga can actually use MayPay here. Both Kuga and Alicia are baffled, but the vendor insists that MayPay is accepted, leaving them in shock. After settling the bill, they continue their journey, but Alicia remains astonished, having no idea such a thing was even possible. It feels almost like magic. This piques her interest in checking the survival manual later, while Kuga is surprised to discover such a resource exists for monsters. Putting that aside, he tells Alicia that he consumes energy much quicker than she does, necessitating more food, especially iron, which his body craves. Although Alicia doesn't fully grasp what he means by iron, she leads him to another food stall. As Kuga starts grabbing food, Alicia is taken aback by the sheer quantity he requires. Afterward, he inquires about her earlier comments regarding the kobolds. She shows him a ring, explaining she gave it to them for summoning help. Curious, he asks if it's a summoning tool, to which Alicia affirms. Kuga then wonders if that means the kobolds can call her any time. Alicia confirms this. Kuga ponders if that makes her their minion. Noticing his expression, Alicia questions if he thinks she was charmed by their cuteness into becoming their servant. Kuga tries to refute it, but his face betrays him, confirming her thoughts. Alicia concedes that cuteness is powerful, but insists it wasn't her only motivation. She explains that the ring can also summon them, and as she demonstrates, it actually works, bringing forth a kobold. Alicia quickly apologizes to the kobold, clarifying she was merely testing the summoning. The kobold responds with a bark, unable to speak but clearly comprehending her. She tells Kuga that this kobold is the leader of that colony, and when she asks for its name, it barks a series of sounds. After a brief moment, she announces that the kobold's name is Kobold. Kuga silently suspects she just made that up. With the test concluded, Alicia uses the summoning magic to send the kobold back, saying she'll see it later. From what he's observed, Kuga thinks the ability to summon them anytime is incredibly advantageous. Alicia agrees but mentions a cooldown before she can summon again. Realizing this, Kuga understands it's not an endless ability. Alicia confirms this and smiles, telling him they have another purpose to fulfill. From her expression, Kuga senses her satisfaction, though he won't discover what that purpose is until later. Later, at Alicia's temporary residence, she asks Kuga if others also stream, to which he nods. Upon hearing this, she shares her growing curiosity about other people's streams. She then asks if they can watch other streamers, and he replies affirmatively, opening the streaming window. Alicia excitedly expresses her desire to watch. As Kuga scrolls, she spots a live stream. To their shock, the stream belongs to Kumazemi, revealing Yulia on screen. Seeing her, Alicia asks if this is the party he was expelled from, and Kuga confirms. This marks Kuga's first time watching a Kumazemi stream since his departure. The most notable change is the addition of a new member. Kuga starts to wonder what's happening. Alicia then questions if they are truly his former teammates. Kuga confirms, but he continues to gaze at the screen, filled with doubt. Alicia points out that they appear utterly lifeless. Her observation is accurate, and Kuga notices it too. At that moment, Sira is engaged in battle with 2 skeletons, attacking one. The other strikes from behind, and he barely manages to block the attack. These 2 skeletons are classified as twin skeletons, a rank above the usual. Recognizing Sira's need for assistance, Yulia calls out to the new party member, Sion, suggesting she take the lead as usual. However, Sion, a priest, argues that it's a poor strategy, which frustrates Yulia. Sion reminds her that standard tactics dictate they must protect the healer, which is him. Yulia understands this rule but struggles to accept it. Just then, Sira gets injured, and Sion swiftly casts healing magic to mend him. The viewers, having witnessed the entire exchange, commend Sion, noting his healing speed is remarkable. This is expected, as he is the disciple of the S-ranked party Lujin. However, they are less forgiving towards Sarah, criticizing him for dragging the team down. Unable to hold back, Yulia unleashes her Holy Night magic to strike a skeleton from afar. Yet their words for Sarah are harsh. He's a burden to the team. At her breaking point, Yulia unleashes her holy night magic, striking a skeleton from afar. But the skeleton effortlessly evades the spell. Cian reassures everyone that all is well, which only frustrates Yulia further. Makari, the party's enchanter, calls out to Yulia. Her expression makes it clear she wants her to remain calm. Cian alerts Makari that her enchantment is fading and requests a refresh. Makari decides to reapply it to Sira first. Xian quickly dismisses her suggestion, labeling it a foolish choice. He insists they stick to the plan, prioritizing the healer's safety. Viewers commend Sion for his composure while criticizing the Kumazemi party for relying solely on vibes. With a smug grin, Cian tells his audience not to underestimate his new teammates. He then turns to Makari and Yulia, assuring them that as long as they keep improving, they'll be fine. One viewer points out that Sihan just insults his teammates by calling their ideas dumb, but his fans quickly defend him, claiming he's guiding them and they should appreciate his presence. Putting that aside, Makari agrees to Sion's orders while Sira grows increasingly irritated. Meanwhile, Kuga and Alicia observe the stream. Alicia notes that Yulia seems much weaker now compared to their previous encounter. Kuga nods in agreement. Alicia then wonders if they can comment on the stream. Kuga confirms they can, and Alicia expresses her desire to cheer them on, though Kuga questions why she doesn't just say it out loud. Alicia asks how to comment, and Kuga explains that she can either send a voice message or type it out for it to be read. In the process, he completely forgets something crucial. Grasping Kuga's explanation, Alicia types a comment and submits it. What Kuga overlooked is that the comment displays the sender's name. Consequently, Alicia's message appears under Kuga's name. Kuga is taken aback, realizing the blunder he just made. He's just revealed himself. To make matters worse, Xian, Makari, and Yulia also hear the comment and are visibly shocked. The viewers recognize him too, though some newcomers do not. They inquire if he's the one who got kicked out, with one even calling him a weirdo for streaming alongside a monster. Witnessing all this, Yulia turns to Makari, apologizing as she admits she can't handle it anymore. Suddenly, Sira yells and charges at the skeletons, surprising the girls. He unleashes a fierce slash, shouting for them not to mess with him. The attack connects, obliterating the skeletons. This leaves Alicia feeling a bit down, but her enthusiastic cheering ultimately brings a positive outcome. Despite Sira switching to a high-risk, aggressive tactic and defeating the skeletons, the challenge they faced was unlike anything Kuga had seen from Kumazemi. It all began in their third year of high school when seating was assigned alphabetically. Kuga found himself in the second row from the right at the back, with Sira assigned to the seat next to him. Kuga was already familiar with him, as Sira's striking blonde hair had made him stand out throughout high school. Though dyed hair broke school rules with his exceptional grades, athletic prowess, and charm, he received only a verbal warning. It was practically an unofficial exception, and now, sitting beside Sira, made Kuga feel a bit anxious. This became clear when Sira greeted him for the first time, and Kuga responded nervously. Luga thought of Kiro as a social butterfly. He interacted with Kuga effortlessly, asking him to fetch items from the store. From their first encounter, Sira treated Kuga like a close friend. Kuga started to think that being around someone like Sira might be changing his perspective. There were times when Sira wouldn't even go to the restroom without Kuga, and they walked home together daily. Despite having many friends, Sira spent most of his time with Kuga. Before they knew it, the year flew by, and after graduation, they took different paths. Kuga thought this was the end of his connection with Sira, but just before graduation, he received an unexpected group chat invite from Sira. The chat included about 10 students, all standout kids from their class. For Kuga, Sira was the only familiar face in the chat, making him feel out of place. To his surprise, most members were surprisingly friendly and welcoming. Among them were Yulia and Makari. Yulia was known as one of the class beauties, so Kuga was taken aback to see her there, especially since she had seemed unapproachable. It turned out she and Makari were close friends, which explained her presence. For the others, this group was likely just one of many social circles, but for Kuga, it felt special. One day, Sira asked in the group chat if anyone was interested in dungeon streaming, as he aimed to become a famous streamer. Though Kuga hesitated, he agreed, wanting to support Sira. As soon as Kuga expressed his interest, Yulia surprisingly followed suit, and then Makari joined too, not wanting to leave Yulia as the only girl. Once they began streaming dungeon runs, Kuga found himself enjoying it. He couldn't quite explain why, but it felt effortless. Not only that, but he also discovered new facets of Yulia and Makari. Seer then suggested they choose a channel name soon, to which Makari agreed. Thus, they started brainstorming potential names. Makari suggested taking a character from each name, which Sira found adorable and immediately approved. Sira took you from Yulia, Ku from Kuga, me from Makari, and C from himself. He inquired if they could combine their ideas into something functional, but none replied, expecting him to figure it out. Sierra then looked to Kuga for suggestions, and after some contemplation, Kuga proposed the name Kumazemi, though they had to tweak the U and add a vocal sound, which Sira found appealing. He checked with Yulia for her approval, and she agreed, saying she would accept it since it was Kuga's concept. Just like that, they whimsically settled on the channel's name. As they began streaming regularly, Sarah's looks and charm became increasingly noticeable. Makari brought charisma and flirtation, while Yulia's cool beauty and unexpected traits captured hearts. With all this, their viewer count gradually increased. What started as a half-hearted joke about becoming famous streamers slowly morphed into a real ambition. Kuga was determined not to let the dream fade. So, he dedicated himself and worked tirelessly behind the scenes. He focused on enhancing his physical skills and delved into the latest combat theories that were cutting edge at the time. Additionally, he immersed himself in weapon training. For the first time, he fully committed to something. Sure, there were times when the grind felt overwhelming, but he persevered. What fueled him was the determination to ensure no one had to retire. This purpose took the spotlight during Kumazemi's inaugural BRANK monster battle against an orc. The fight was fierce, and they finally managed to trap it. In a final act of desperation, the orc hurled its axe with all its might. Sierra, engaged in close combat, miscalculated the distance and was about to be struck by the orc's sudden attack. In a split second, Kuga, still a warrior, leaped in front to protect Sarah. In that moment, everyone feared Kuga had perished, especially given the severity of his abdominal wound. To make matters worse, Kumazemi's critical flaw was their lack of a healer. Deep down, they all recognized their inability to heal, yet no one considered changing members. That unspoken bond led to disaster at that crucial moment. But then something unexpected occurred. Kuga's jobstone began to glow while he lay there. Fortunately, he survived as his job transformed from warrior to hero. The first thing he did was heal himself. Everyone embraced him, tears in their eyes. Kuga had survived, and Kumazemi finally had a healer. Though the hero class wasn't primarily for healing, Kuga was content if it meant protecting his team. However, it later became clear that Kumazemi had acquired a subpar healer, ultimately becoming a hindrance. At least, that's what Kuga thought. On their way back, Alicia noticed Kuga was unusually quiet and deep in thought. She asked him what was bothering him, pointing out his worried expression. Avoiding her gaze, he muttered it was nothing. Alicia chose not to press further and continued walking, telling him to pull himself together. Viewers who could read Kuga's expression encouraged him, while another made him feel a bit awkward. As they walked, Alicia and Kuga spotted someone familiar. It was Mino-chan, the Minotaur, and Alicia's friend. Viewers wondered if they would collaborate with her. Alicia called out to her, but for some reason, Mino-chan flinched as if frightened. She turned and recognized Alicia, calming down but still trembling. Noticing her reaction, Alicia asked what was wrong and why she seemed so anxious. Mino-chan attempted to speak but hesitated, saying it was nothing. However, Alicia could tell from her demeanor that she was concealing something. She was right, as Mino-chan panicked and insisted she was hiding nothing. Even Kuga and the viewers could see she was not being truthful. Among the viewers, one found Mino-chan's reactions particularly adorable. Alicia urged Mino-chan not to shut them out, reminding her they were friends and she could confide in them. Mino-chan was touched, tears welling up. Feeling this way, she agreed to share everything. The viewers were eager to learn what troubled Mino-chan. She timidly explained that she believed someone was stalking her. Kuga and the viewers were taken aback and felt sympathy for her. They wondered who would target such a gentle girl and found it utterly unacceptable. Then one viewer suggested Kuga confront the stalker, catching him off guard. Alicia, equally shocked by Mino-chan's predicament, found it unacceptable too, but reassured her not to worry. She promised that she and Kuga would drive off the stalker. Mino-chan felt immense relief and asked Alicia if they truly would. Alicia affirmed they would, with Kuga nodding in agreement. Mino-chan expressed her gratitude for their support, relieved that she could finally return home. She then began detailing her situation, explaining that she had sensed something creepy following her for days. And today, she was so frightened she ran to the busiest street she could find. They feel sorry for her, finding the stalker repulsive, wishing him 1,000 fates worse than death. Soon enough, they arrive at Mino-chan's residence, resembling Alicia's temporary place but 3 times its size. Mino-chan is relieved they returned quickly, having been so frightened that she forgot to tend to her plants. This has her deeply anxious, as she has nurtured them with care, knowing these vegetables can wilt if neglected for even a day. Witnessing this side of her, viewers question who could ever label her an S-rank boss, as they couldn't bear to harm her. One viewer even vows to support Mino if any dungeon streamer dares to attack her. Alicia feels a sense of relief at this comment, glad that viewers are starting to grasp Mino's true nature. Suddenly, all 3 sense a menacing presence lurking nearby. Noticing Mino quaking in fear, Alicia inquires if this is the stalker. Mino, shaking uncontrollably, confirms that this is indeed the same presence she sensed before, but much stronger now. Given this, Alicia suspects the stalker is nearby and suggests they check outside the garden first. To ease Mino's fear, Alicia tells her to stay close, assuring her safety in their company. As they exit the garden, they spot someone at the entrance. It's a werewolf, and his enormous size astonishes the viewers, especially when some recognize him as the newly added S-ranked boss werewolf replacing the salamander. When other viewers confirm this, Alicia asks for verification and checks the current S-rank boss list, which indeed confirms it. Setting that aside, Alicia confronts the werewolf, demanding to know his intentions regarding Mino. The werewolf bluntly states he has merely been watching over Mino to protect her. Alicia, puzzled, presses him for clarification. The werewolf starts to tremble as he insists that he alone is worthy of safeguarding Mino. Mino feels utterly creeped out and frightened. She demands to know what's wrong with him, pointing out that she doesn't even know him. The werewolf misreads her disgust as shyness and finds it endearing. This unsettling reaction convinces viewers that he embodies the very essence of a stalker, urging Mino to flee immediately. Even Kuga and Alicia are taken aback by the werewolf's disturbing demeanor. Out of nowhere, the werewolf starts asking about Minowai without explaining himself. Confused, she demands an explanation, and he questions why she would associate with humans. He warns that mingling with humans will tarnish her S-rank title and diminish her pure beauty. Furious at his comment, Mino loudly tells the werewolf not to insult her friends. This outburst astonishes Alicia, revealing that Mino considers both her and Kuga as friends. Despite this strong declaration, the werewolf attempts to maintain his composure, claiming it's fine. He then pities her, suggesting she must have been brainwashed by Kuga and Alicia, but Mino firmly denies this. Ignoring her, he recounts how it all began when he first met her at a flower shop and fell in love at first sight. This obsessive narrative annoys the viewers, yet they have no choice but to endure his one-sided love story. After rambling for a while, the werewolf decides to retreat for the day, declaring they will meet again. Mino bluntly responds that they won't and calls him a creep, visibly shocking him. Without another word, a teleportation circle appears beneath the werewolf and he disappears, leaving everyone feeling uneasy. Suddenly, Alicia announces she has made a decision. When Kuga asks what it is, she proclaims they will make the werewolf her minion. Kuga, however, is not on board with the idea, questioning if she is truly serious after everything the werewolf just said. Later, Kuga and Alicia arrive at the werewolf's castle located on the 45th underground floor. Determined to make the werewolf her minion, they approach the castle. Viewers are taken aback by Alicia's boldness, believing the werewolf won't see this ambush coming. However, Kuga has his doubts, wondering if they are even strong enough to challenge an S-ranked boss for the first time. While Kuga feels anxious, Alicia suggests they should just go inside since no guards are visible. Upon opening the door and stepping into the room, they encounter numerous werewolves who demand to know who these intruders are. As they ask, Alicia boldly states she is a vampire here to make the master of this castle her minion. The werewolves, enraged, label her a traitor for coming with a human. Before the werewolves can attack, Alicia swiftly takes down several of them. From this, she realizes their strength level but notes that despite their weakness, they still have decent numbers. Given this, she considers a more effective approach and activates her summoning ring. As multiple summoning circles appear, viewers grow puzzled, wondering what's happening. Suddenly, hundreds of kobolds materialize, with whom Alicia has previously formed a summoning contract. Viewers are excited to see the kobold army arrive, dubbing them the Sheba Squad. Newer viewers find the kobolds adorable and speculate if Alicia used some form of summoning magic. Alicia then instructs the kobold chief to take down the werewolves, stating she will provide support. After saying this, she cuts her finger, releasing her blood as a mist. This effect is instantaneous. The kobolds grow larger and more intimidating, prompting Kuga to wonder if this is the power of her buff. The kobold chief suddenly declares that receiving this power is an honor beyond words, shocking Kuga. Not only Kuga, but the viewers are also confused, questioning what's happening, while one viewer even finds the chief's voice appealing. With that, Alicia enthusiastically tells the kobold chief she is counting on him, calling him Kobold. The kobold chief accepts the order but corrects her, stating his name is Wano. Embarrassed, Alicia apologizes for misnaming him. With that, Wano, the kobold village chief, commands all the kobolds to advance and repay their master with glory. The other kobolds eagerly charge at the werewolves. Viewers are thrilled, calling it the most epic moment yet, insisting these aren't your typical Shebas. Alicia proposes leaving the werewolves to Wano and the others, while she and Kuga venture deeper into the castle, and Kuga agrees. They ascend the stairs, and upon opening the door, they find a werewolf lounging on a couch. With a sly grin, Alicia greets the werewolf, who responds with a sinister chuckle, surprised she came alone. Now that she's here, the werewolf thinks he can finally eliminate her for attempting to take his minotaur. The viewers feel unsettled hearing the werewolf claim Mino as his own, sparking arguments in the chat about Mino's true ownership. Putting that aside, Kuga and the viewers spot someone next to the werewolf. The viewers just noticed her and speculate if she's a wanderer. Alicia inquires about the girl, and the werewolf turns, noticing her, saying she's merely a little hobby. Disgusted, Kuga and Alicia react, with Alicia asking if the werewolf plans to keep the girl locked up like me now. The werewolf quickly refutes this, claiming she's special, but Alicia dismisses him and instructs Kuga to take the girl away. Hesitant to leave her alone, Kuga asks if she's certain, and Alicia reassures him she can handle the werewolf. Reluctantly, Kuga accepts, drawing his sword to break the girl's iron collar. He shatters it effortlessly without hurting her, then wraps her in his cape, promising to return once she's safe. As they depart, the werewolf doesn't stop them but comments they need a lesson. Alicia retorts the same applies to him. Once outside the main room, Kuga checks on the girl, who confirms she's okay. He feels relieved she can speak. Noticing her youth, Kuga wonders if that's the werewolf's type, but he's also struck by her tattered clothes and feels pity. He secures his cape around her with a bow and instructs her to follow. She blushes but nods, accepting his lead. Meanwhile, Alicia battles fiercely with the werewolf, who struggles to fend off her attacks. With Kuga's streaming drone left with Alicia, viewers cheer for her to triumph over the werewolf. This is their first real monster-on-monster showdown, and they're ecstatic, dubbing it villain versus villain. Unable to keep up, the werewolf jumps back to escape, but Alicia instantly closes the gap by teleporting, much to his frustration. He leaps into the air, claws extended, aiming to strike her, but she teleports away, causing him to hit the ground and injure himself. Viewers are amazed she's overpowering an S-rank boss, with one speculating she might be stronger than most S-rank foes, but this feels beyond that. While the audience cheers, Alicia senses something is off. This fight shouldn't be this easy. She bluntly questions the werewolf's strength, making him click his tongue in annoyance. Some viewers are puzzled by her inquiry, while others think she's simply too powerful for S-rank monsters. After a brief pause, Alicia asks if he's genuinely an S-rank boss. The werewolf giggles smugly, asking when he ever claimed that, shocking Alicia. He points out that the human she brought is taking quite a while to return. At that moment, Alicia realizes what's happening and feels irritated. Viewers also catch on and comment that Kuga can't seem to catch a break. Meanwhile, as Kuga escorts the girl to safety, she suddenly asks if he knows a game called Werewolf. Surprised by her relaxed tone, he admits he's never played, but has heard of it. The girl explains that in the game, a deceitful werewolf pretends to be human and attacks villagers at night, asking if that's the one. Kuga responds that it might be, as he doesn't know all the game's rules. The girl softly calls Kuga's name, urging him to listen closely. With a smile, she reveals she's actually the werewolf, leaving Kuga speechless. Meanwhile, Alicia scours the castle for Kuga, anxious and wondering where he's gone, searching right after subduing the fake werewolf. The longer it takes to find Kuga, the more her worry intensifies. After checking every room, she bursts into the last one and finds Kuga. Seeing him safe and sound, viewers feel relieved he's alive. Noticing her anxious expression, Kuga asks what's wrong. She quickly warns him to step back, pointing at the girl and declaring she's the real werewolf. Kuga bluntly states he already knows. Shocking Alicia, he explains the girl confessed everything to him. Viewers are surprised to learn she's the werewolf, though some claim they saw it coming. Still, they're all captivated by her cuteness. The werewolf girl mentions that Kuga said he wanted her as one of his kin. Misunderstanding, she thinks he meant it, and he clarifies it's Alicia who wants that, not him. This shocks Alicia so much she screams. Viewers are equally stunned, with some wondering if Kuga has a charm that attracts monster girls. A portion even calls him a traitor who must be eliminated, leaving him dumbfounded. Confused by the unfolding events, Alicia asks the werewolf girl why she agreed. After a brief pause, the girl replies it's because Kuga was kind to her, shocking Alicia further. The girl continues, explaining that when Kuga rescued her, he kept asking if she was okay, praising her efforts and assuring her not to worry. For her, it's the first time anyone has ever spoken such kind words. The audience is stunned by how simple this all seems, with some claiming they could easily say similar things. One viewer boldly tells Kuga to move aside, insisting he'll take Kuga's spot. Alicia shakes, asking what the girl just uttered. With irritation, she confesses that no one has ever spoken to her like that. Kuga explains that it's simply because she's never faced such a scenario. Alicia realizes this truth and falls silent. As Alicia suddenly goes quiet, the viewers speculate about what's happening, with some fearing not everyone will survive, while others caution against jinxing it. While Alicia is lost in thought, one comment suggests she might be considering acting a bit weaker too. She quickly refutes this, telling them not to say whatever comes to mind. Avoiding eye contact, she insists she's not thinking that way. Just then, the fake S-rank werewolf enters and greets the werewolf girl, Gree. Spotting Alicia, he questions her satisfaction. Before she can respond, the girl calls him Big Brother. This revelation shocks both Kuga and Alicia, leaving viewers wondering if they are indeed siblings. Now that the idea is on the table, they scrutinize the pair and notice the fake S-rank werewolf and Greedo share similar hair. The werewolf inquires about the situation, to which she replies after a moment that she has found her destined partner. She then approaches Kuga, declaring her intention to become his minion. This stuns both the werewolf and Alicia, leading the werewolf to suspect he might be hallucinating from the blow to his head. Confused, he asks Gree if she's lost her mind. Holding Kuga's hand, she replies that he's so kind it was love at first sight. Even more shocked, the werewolf urges Gree to calm down, warning her that love at first sight often leads to trouble. Kuga could be a cheating, violent disaster. He feels annoyed by their comments. The werewolf continues, questioning Kuga's feelings and whether it's just a one-sided infatuation. The viewers find this hilarious, convinced they must be siblings, given their similar, obsessive vibes. Gree responds that she doesn't care if it's one-sided, asserting that her brother's opinion is irrelevant. She then asks if she can officially be Kuga's minion, but the room falls into silence. After a moment of hesitation from Alicia, Gree interrupts her. She requests that once she and Kuga are officially bound, he should summon her any time, ideally at least twice daily, to which he reluctantly agrees. With the contract in place, Alicia finds it acceptable, reasoning that her minion's minion is also under her command. Kuga wonders if the rules can really be bent this way, feeling a bit uneasy. The following day, at Alicia's temporary residence, Kuga gets a notification for Kumazemi's latest stream. Though he has no desire to watch, Alicia insists she wants to check it out. Reluctantly, he tunes into Kumazemi's stream for the second time. As it starts, Alicia wonders what Kuga's former party is up to now. A question Kuga quietly agrees is valid. The broadcast reveals Kumazemi's party, now featuring a new member entering a dungeon. Shin, the newcomer, informs his viewers that today's objective is to gather materials for upgrading his staff. He doesn't anticipate much combat. He explains that while they faced challenges in the last stream, the team has since improved their coordination and trained hard. Confidently, he reassures the viewers that they're doing well now and encourages them to relax and enjoy the stream. Some viewers commend him, calling him impressive and reliable, while others remain skeptical. Shin then reveals that he was the sole survivor of his previous party, a fate he never desired. Upon hearing this, the chat erupts with admiration and sympathy, lamenting the loss but asserting that Xian was simply more skilled than the others. Some even express concern that his new group might face a similar fate. Xian thanks his viewers for their support, but politely requests they refrain from insulting his current or past teammates. He then vows to help this party achieve S rank. Inspired, his audience floods the chat with encouraging messages, convinced he's the one to lead them to victory. Grateful, he thanks them again. Suddenly, his wand levitates on its own, leaving him puzzled. As he questions what's happening, a magic circle forms beneath him, and threads of spider silk shoot out, ensnaring him. Shocked, he struggles to break free, but the silk quickly wraps around him. Alarmed viewers rush to Kumazemi's chat to warn others. Hearing Sion's frantic voice, Makari immediately rushes to check on him. Upon arrival, she finds Xian completely ensnared in spider silk. Horrified, she quickly recognizes it as a web-based teleportation trap. Xian seems unaware of it. But before Makari can intervene, it's already too late. Before her eyes, Xian disappears. Moments later, Yulia and Sira arrive, demanding to know what transpired. Makari explains that Xian was caught in a warp trap. Both Yulia and Sira react with alarm, realizing the gravity of the situation. Makari explains that the trap was set by an arachne, an S-rank boss monster. Anyone caught in that web is instantly transported to the arachne's lair. Many adventurers have met their demise there, and Xian is likely among them. Viewers from Xian's stream flood the chat, urging the team to hurry and rescue him. Sira hesitates, but he realizes there's no other choice. Determined, he sets off after Xian, with Makari and Yulia quickly agreeing to follow. They step into the trap together and disappear. They find themselves on the 45th underground level, the lair of the arachne. Shocked, the trio realizes their worst fears have come true. They soon catch sight of Xian, but the thick webs blocking the only exit make it clear they can't leave the way they entered. Suddenly, a voice taunts them from behind, calling their arrival a fortunate catch. The source of the voice reveals itself, a massive arachne, the S-rank boss of this dungeon. Now, the Kumazemi team faces the arachne, which grins at its ensnared prey, while the group prepares for combat. As the scene unfolds, some viewers start to wonder if this will be the last Kumazemi stream, while others remain optimistic, trusting Sion's presence. Xian's audience urges him to fight, insisting this is his chance to elevate the party to S rank. Anxiously, Xian thanks them and suggests sticking to the plan. The party positions themselves, with Makari enhancing Sion's defenses. Before they can fully get ready, the arachne makes the first move, targeting Sion. Yulia swiftly deflects the attack, leaving viewers in awe and showering her with compliments. Yet some viewers remain unsatisfied, eager to see the gorilla unleash its power. Putting that aside, the arachne shifts its attention to Sira, launching an attack with one of its legs. Sira manages to block the first strike. The creature immediately follows up with a barrage of six-legged strikes. This time, he can't react quickly enough and takes a hit. Shin quickly casts Auto Heal, instantly restoring Sira's health. The viewers erupt in admiration for Sion once more. Makari then casts Acceleration on Sira, boosting his agility. With this new twist, viewers start to believe that Cira might actually have a fighting chance. However, now that Sion has revealed himself as the healer, the arachne identifies her next target. She knows that attacking the healer is a smart move, but also realizes such strategies often fail when the enemy isn't acting purely on instinct. After this realization, she launches shards at the group, shocking everyone as she proclaims she doesn't need to eliminate them one by one. She'll take them all out at once. The projectiles hurtle toward Xian and Makari, with Yulia being the only one close enough to shield either of them. As she hesitates, torn on whom to protect, Xian shouts, urging her to cover him. With no other option, Yulia intercepts the attack aimed at Sion, who expresses his gratitude. Ignoring him, Yulia quickly checks on Makari, relieved to find her safe. The arachne giggles, taunting Yulia about whether she truly thought she had escaped. With that, she ensnares Yulia in her web, tightening it around her. It's a decidedly non-PG moment. Shocked, Sarah and Makari shout for Yulia in panic. Meanwhile, Sion's viewers turn against her, blaming Yulia for the predicament and claiming she was never meant to be the tank. Some argue she could have dodged, while others defend her, reminding everyone that she protected the healers. Amidst the chaos in the chat, Sira rushes to save Yulia, managing to slice off one of the arachne's arms. The creature instantly regenerates it, mocking him and questioning if he really thought he achieved anything. Stunned, Sira finds himself vulnerable as the arachne delivers a swift, punishing blow. She then targets Makari and Scion with another attack. Makari tries to block it for both, but ends up getting caught as well, much to the viewer's frustration. With Saray too injured to act, the chat floods with desperate pleas for Scion to heal her. Instead, Scion grows frustrated, blaming the entire situation on the Kumazemi party and calling them fools who always drag him down. Just then, the main door behind Scion creaks open from the outside. Startled, he remembers that while such doors can't be opened from within, they can be opened from the outside. Believing this to be a rare chance, a sign from the gods that he is meant to survive, Scion decides to make a break for it. His viewers start to realize his intentions. He covers the live streaming drone, grabs it, and sprints toward the exit, determined not to meet his end here. However, he collides with someone and tumbles backward onto the ground. Shin looks up, sees the door closing, and curses the person in front of him, demanding to know why they are shutting it. At that moment, the stream resumes, and viewers can see the feed again. They quickly recognize the newcomer. It's none other than Kuga. The viewers express their shock and excitement, admitting they didn't expect him to show up, but are relieved he did. Without wasting a moment, Kuga charges directly at the arachne. The sudden assault stuns her, and she demands to know how a human can exceed the 4-member party limit. While everyone else remains puzzled, Kuga's viewers quickly connect the dots. It's all thanks to the hero's skill, salvation. This enables a fighter to jump into the fray mid-battle against a team of 4. In essence, Kuga has taken Scion's place, diving right into the conflict. Logically, it would have been wiser for him to swap in for Yulia or Makari, who were already out. Yet, in the heat of battle, Kuga opted for Scion. Realizing this, Scion bitterly wishes Kuga had at least let him out before sealing the door. Kuga shouts to Alicia, asking for one last favor. She wearily replies, asking what he needs, and he requests her to shield Scion from the Iraqi attacks. Though hesitant, she consents for Kuga's sake. Viewers wonder why Alicia isn't aiding Kuga directly, and she clarifies that she can't join this fight. Scion's audience is shocked to discover that the 4-member limit also applies to monsters. Frustrated, Scion grumbles that Kuga is a nuisance, and even a half-hearted nobody won't change anything. Before he can finish, Sira interrupts coldly, calling him a cowardly healer, saying he could tolerate Scion's arrogance before. But someone who attempted to abandon his teammates has no right to look down on Kuga. Scion is left speechless and bewildered, as he was the one who had ruthlessly expelled Kuga initially. His viewers are stunned to learn he actually tried to flee. Some refuse to accept it, while others confront him directly. But when they remember the stream going blank, their doubts are confirmed. They also recall similar events when his previous party was wiped out. With this, the proof becomes irrefutable, and viewers express their disappointment, labeling him pathetic. Meanwhile, Kuga confronts the arachne head-on, landing several critical strikes. She panics, questioning what kind of person he truly is. Desperation sets in as she unleashes a flurry of sharp shards at him. Kuga charges forward, blocking some and taking cuts from others. He closes the gap, slicing off 2 of her legs. The arachne screams in agony as viewers watch in disbelief. They can hardly fathom he's winning a one-on-one against an S-rank boss. They expected him to be strong after his earlier encounter with Alicia, but not this formidable. Sira, however, remains unfazed. He knows this is Kuga's true power. About a month before Kuga's expulsion, Sira had informed Makari and Yulia that Kuga would need to leave Kumazemi. He explained that while Kuga's role as a hero was deemed versatile, Kuga himself surpassed that. Offense, defense, support, healing. He excelled in every aspect. Kuga wasn't just a jack of all trades, he was a genuine all-rounder. His strength alone matched that of an S-rank boss. Gifted with natural talent and refined through relentless training, his skills had reached their peak. Yet, despite all this, he was forced into the healer role simply because Kumazemi lacked one. Sira believes Kuga's true potential has been squandered keeping the team alive. That's why he insists they must liberate Kuga from the constraints they imposed on him. Makari understands the situation but hesitates, questioning if this is truly the only option. She proposes they should strategize properly, but Sira counters that even if they told Kuga directly, he would refuse every time. Kuga's self-esteem, he explains, is far too low, and his sense of duty too stubborn for him to accept help or change willingly. Although Sira doubts Kuga could defeat the hidden boss, the vampire alone, he still believes Kuga would fight well enough to make a name for himself. That's why he forced Kuga out of Kumazemi and sent him to confront the vampire, just in case they stayed close, monitoring his streams, which was also the reason Sira provided him with the streaming drone. They were fully prepared to break into the hidden boss's chamber if things went awry. Back in the present, while the Arachne writhes from her injuries, Kuga employs healing magic to mend his wounds. Moments later, the Arachne regenerates her legs, taunting him as she asks if he thinks he's the only one capable of healing. Watching this unfold, viewers grow anxious, realizing her regeneration rate is alarmingly fast. Though Kuga is holding his own, they doubt he can overpower her healing. The Arachne laughs darkly, stating that no matter how hard Kuga tries, he's merely bleeding out more slowly. She unleashes another wave of crystal shards. Kuga dodges most, but a few slice into his flesh. Despite this, he appears deep in thought. Suddenly, he calls out to Sira, catching him off guard, and asks him to hold off the Arachne for just a moment. He then adds a quiet "please" at the end, something that surprises Sira. Even without that word, Sira would have agreed, but hearing it only strengthens his resolve. He immediately engages the Arachne, buying Kuga the time he requires. While Sira distracts the Arachne, Kuga steps back from the fight and approaches Sion and Alicia. The three stand in tense silence as viewers wonder what's unfolding. Kuga finally speaks, apologizing and explaining that what he's about to do is necessary due to the activation condition of his new trait. With a grim expression, he raises his sword threateningly, adding that it's nothing personal. He owes Sion nothing. Leon's eyes widen in horror as he grasps Kuga's intent. The truth hits him. Kuga made Alicia protect him earlier, not out of kindness, but to ensure he would be preserved as a living sacrifice. Before Sion can react, Alicia restrains him. Her gaze is icy as Kuga steps forward to deliver the final strike. As Sion struggles, she quietly states that she feels no need to apologize. After all, he is a monster to begin with. Shaking, Sion refuses to accept this as his end, convinced he still has much to achieve. After all his hard work, he finally made it into an S-rank party. Yet, Kuga merely offers a chilling apology, raising his sword and declaring that time is running out. Filled with dread, Sion attempts to crawl away, desperately clinging to life, but it's already too late. Kuga swings the sword down onto his back, ending his life instantly. The audience is left in shock. While many never cared for Sion, they didn't expect Kuga to actually follow through. Sion's viewers, however, are heartbroken, crying out in disbelief and questioning why this happened. Suddenly, a powerful wave of mana envelops Kuga, and the Arachne instantly senses the threat. Before she can even respond, Kuga darts forward with blinding speed, slicing through all her legs without getting close. She crumples to the ground, staring in shock at her severed limbs. Though she knows this isn't the moment for surprise, she quickly regenerates her legs. Yet, even with her quick reflexes, she can't react to Kuga's next attack, which cleanly bisects her. The scene shocks not just the Arachne, but also Yulia, who remains ensnared in the web. Utterly bewildered, she questions what is unfolding. Alicia, standing next to her, starts to giggle. She comments that Kuga is no longer the same person they once knew. Still flustered, Yulia demands to know what Alicia has done to him. Alicia playfully responds that she hasn't done anything specific. Something has indeed shifted in Kuga, and that is his new job. His current class is Fallen Hero, awakened during his confrontation with the Monster Slayer. The instant he took a life, his title transformed from Hero to Fallen Hero. With this new role came the trait Soul Rescue, which enhances his powers whenever he saves a soul. Though it sounds noble, rescuing a soul actually means erasing it completely. In essence, killing significantly boosts his strength. Aside from that, the fallen hero retains the same fundamental abilities as a typical hero. However, in exchange for acquiring the Soul Rescue trait, he faces a major drawback. He can only use healing and support magic on himself. Nonetheless, his overall offensive power has surged dramatically.